Hi, YouTube. What I've got here is I have a Speedplay X3 pedal here that I've kind of modified. This is the original and kind of some of the problems that you have after, I guess, many miles of riding on X3 pedals. This is a steel spindle here. We have modified this one a little bit, and we have drilled a kind of a counter bore inside to kind of make it a little bit lighter. But the biggest problem that we have right now is the play. I don't know if you can see the play in the pedal there. Trying to hold it as still as I can here. And what that does is, what basically goes wrong inside is there is a bushing. So what I'm going to go ahead and do right now is I'm going to go ahead and take it apart. I've already disassembled it and kind of made it a little bit easier for me to disassemble. And this one comes apart really easy. The X2 is manufactured a little bit differently, so it's a little bit different. So these basically just unscrew and they come right off. Now, the pedal itself is a clamshell, so you can basically pull the thing apart. Really shouldn't have a hard time pulling this thing apart. Then the bearing on one end, it does have a dust cover, so and it has a little bit of screw, so I'm just using a Phillips screwdriver here to remove the screw inside. So once I get that off, this little dust cover comes off. This little dust cover is just to kind of basically keep the bearing inside kind of free of dirt, and you can lube it up whenever you need to. What I'm going to use right now is a 9mm socket to remove the nut that's inside. Like I said, I've already taken this thing apart and gone through the modification here once before. So this is basically what you have, is just basically a steel shaft with some external threads and some internal threads inside there. This one, like I said, I've already cleaned it off. I don't use this one anymore. What I did is basically manufactured my own spindle here like this. I also manufactured another bushing out of oil lite that I got from McMaster Car and an employer who I worked at. I did the design and they manufactured the parts for me during some slow time that we had. So basically what happens is, I don't know if you can see down inside there, but inside here is a like a Delrin bushing that tends to go out. So that kind of tends to give you the little flop around that we saw inside there. And inside here is the bearing. And I just used a pencil to kind of push it out. Okay. Basically, it's just a regular bearing that you can get. Pretty simple thing to manufacture. One of the things that I did do is I went ahead when I was designing this new bushing again, like I said I did, is I went ahead and I cut one of the other ones in half. I wanted to see what the counter bores inside, kind of what the angles were inside that I was going to need to do. So this is basically what it looks like when it's cut in half. You can see it's basically the same thing. One side, the black Delrin bushing inside did come out and it fell off and I wasn't able to locate it. But if you look down inside, you can see one side does have the black Delrin bushing. Okay, so now this is the new part that we manufactured. Like I said, this was a couple of years ago that we manufactured this part. And this is out of oil lite. Like I said, we got it from McMaster Car, turned it down, put all the counter bores inside, made it nice and tight. Okay, so this is the new one that we did put inside. We basically used the same body, the same bearing, same dust cap, these little steel cleats that are on the outside, and here's the new spindle that we manufactured for it. If you can see, there's a couple of different steps inside. I did use the same nut thread. I also used the same thread to, for everything else as well. So everything still works exactly the same. I also kind of made it, it's stainless. So we did change it from a steel shaft. I tried to keep all the dimensions, overall lengths, the same. I just changed a little bit of some of the design. You can see this one's got kind of a little bit of a radius inside that it goes ahead and does as well. So what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and put the new one together and show you that there really isn't a whole lot of play inside the pedal now with the new way that we've kind of gone ahead and decided. We did use 303 stainless, and like I says, the material for the bearing inside is oil lite. So basically you don't have to oil it, kind of just like the way it was intended to be done with plastic Delrin is what I believe the material is inside. So just goes back in together. Put the bearing down inside. Put the nut down in. Okay. Go ahead and use the socket to kind of hold it down in place. Now you can see there really isn't any play in the shaft, anything that way as well. And like I says, this thing will fit. I'll use the same dust cover for the bearing on the same side. I'll also put the little screw back inside that kind of you can use to lube the bearing as it goes in. Okay, I'll go ahead and put the dust plug back inside. Now, this can only basically just go in one way, so you really can't put it together incorrectly. It'll only go together one way. So as you can see, nice tight fit. Put the cleats back on. And just use my little hex wrench here to put this thing back together. Okay, and then now I'll show you there's no play inside the pedal there. Also nice spin. So like I says, this has already been being used by a friend of mine who does triathlons, does a lot of bike riding, likes to run a lot, swimming, you name it, he does quite a bit. So he's real happy with it. He's put a lot of use, a lot of miles on these pedals. Like I says, I'd like to see if maybe anybody would be interested in perhaps a new bearing out of oil lite that would go on to the original shafts, or maybe somebody that would be interested in perhaps purchasing a whole new set. Spindles included with the oil lite bearing bronze inside. Like I says, you guys can email me or contact me or leave me a thumbs up or a thumbs down and let me know what you guys think. All right, talk to you guys soon again. Thanks.